Hi there. So we are going to finish up this chapter on abnormal psychology with personality disorders. Now, I will tell you, I find personality disorders to be some of the most interesting to study. However, they are actually some of the most frustrating to treat because I want you to think of personality. We talked about personality, I think just a week or so ago, and we talked about it being that golden thread of who you are as an individual, the things that are kind of constant over your lives and don't change. What if some of those things are actually disordered? And that's what a personality disorder is. So I'm going to explain some of these to you. Now, here's just a warning. Some of these you might see in yourself or see in other people. That does not always mean that it is a personality disorder. However, I'm going to describe some characteristics and you'll be like, that's what's wrong with that person. I've been wondering forever. And so just be aware, sometimes that can take place in this chapter. Okay, so starting out, what is a personality disorder? It's a disorder in which a person adopts a persistent, rigid, and maladaptive pattern of behavior that interferes with normal social interaction. Now, when it says it interferes with normal social interaction, I will tell you the one thing that most of these personality disorders have in common is the individuals who have them are pretty likable up front. It's once you get to know them, if you can get to know them, that's when it interferes with their normal social interaction. Okay, so these people usually have unstable and intense relationships with others. They are dependent on others, but yet sabotage those relationships. And they often have problems controlling their impulses. Usually their perceptions and their thoughts are distorted. So I'll give you an example. A person with a personality disorder might assume if you didn't pick up their phone call, let's say it's a girlfriend or a boyfriend, if you did not pick up their phone call when they called the first time, they may become very rageful, very jealous, assume that you hate them, assume that you're breaking up with them, until you alleviate that fear, and then they either well, it just depends on which personality disorder it is. They may want to never leave your side and become very clingy, or they may be ready to stab you in the back, so and find retribution and still not believe you. So let's talk about the different types of personality disorders. The first one is antisocial personality disorder. This is a disorder in which a person has no morals or conscience and often behaves in an impulsive manner without regard for the consequences of that behavior or feelings of others. So our prime example of this would be a sociopath, somebody who really honestly just doesn't care about getting in trouble. I had a professor once who talked about basically child molesters. He said there are two different kinds of child molesters. There is the person who got themselves into a situation and made a really, really, really bad choice, and are truly regretting what choice they have made. But then there's the other person who may say they're sorry, and really they are only sorry that they got caught. That person usually is the antisocial personality disorder. You will see just some prime characteristics of these individuals: a lack of empathy, little regard for others' feelings. They may view the world as hostile and only need to look out for themselves. Okay, this next personality disorder I find to be pretty common. Borderline, honestly, I don't think you see probably a lot of antisocial personalities out there, but you will find a lot of borderline personalities. In fact, I really think almost every junior high girl has some borderline characteristics. However, most of us outgrow it. Once in a while, you'll find individuals who seem to get stuck. A borderline is a maladaptive personality pattern which the person is moody, unstable, manipulative, lacks a clear sense of identity, and often clings to others. Doesn't that sound like every 7th and 8th grade girl you've ever met? A lot of times they're very manipulative. They may use threat of suicide as a tool. They tend to be impulsive and self-destructive. People with this disorder are prone to constant mood swings and bouts of anger. I like to say I actually have 2 nicknames for this. One of them is the tug of war, the push-pull. You never know, or the yo-yo. You never know where you stand with the person, and so you always feel like you are walking on eggshells. And they have a really good way of making you feel guilty for whatever it is. So 1 minute they may pull you towards them, and then before you can hurt them, they will then push you away. But wait, don't go too far, come back. So those kinds of behaviors. There's the chronic instability of emotions and self-image and relationships. A lot of times there's a lot of self-destructive behavior. I will just tell you, most of this is all rooted in their intense fear of abandonment. They are so afraid of people leaving them, and so they will do whatever they need to do to keep that from happening. I want you to think of a person who gets their identity around other people loving them and liking them. If people reject them, what does that say about themselves? It says that, well, they must not be lovable and they must not be worthy of being loved. And because they have that deep belief about themselves, they will hold on for dear life. That's why if you've ever had the person who threatened to kill themselves if you break up with them, ooh, I would run for the hills. They are most likely have some borderline stuff going on. Here's one thing though. There is a possible history of childhood physical, emotional, or sexual abuse, and 75% of diagnosed cases are women. However, I have had, at least I know of 1 male borderline in my office, but again, just very self-destructive behaviors, whether it's cutting or burning, things that just, again, not okay, but a lot of things used to try to manipulate and used to gain attention from others. They will take their anger out on themselves, causing themselves self-injury. A lot of suicidal threats and actions are not uncommon. They are quick to anger when their expectations are not met. Okay, our next diagnosis is histrionic. Now, I will tell you, I have a picture of Lady Gaga up here. However, I don't think she's, I don't know, but I don't think she's histrionic. I think she is really good at marketing. But here is the histrionic definitions. Highly emotional and dramatic, attention-seeking, self-centered, and shallow. Histrionic personality disorders, they need to be the center of attention all the time. Whether they're acting silly or dressing provocatively, they will display shallow, attention-getting emotionality. They will also go to great lengths to gain others' praise and reassurance. They will even say out loud, "Do you like me? Do you like me? Aren't I good? Didn't I do a good job?" Again, Lady Gaga, I will tell you, I think she, she has a great voice. I think that, she does not have the superstar look about her. And so I don't know if she would have made it big just by herself. But she made it big because we noticed her when she started dressing like this or wearing meat dresses or whatever the weird shoes she was wearing. We took notice, and you'll notice now that she has our attention, she doesn't do that as much. Again, the constant attention seekers, they need to be in the center of attention all of the time, often interrupting others in order to dominate the conversation. I once had a relative who also had some histrionic issues, and she would just yell out in the middle of everybody talking just so that she could be attended to. They may dress provocatively or exaggerate illnesses in order to gain attention, and they also tend to exaggerate friendships and relationships, believing that everyone loves them. These would be people who would definitely be name droppers, even though, they may not know this person at all, but they want to feel important. Okay, our next one is narcissistic personality disorder. Once again, most of you probably do know somebody who has some kind of narcissistic traits. This person is self-loving, to say the least. They need undeserved praise and adulation. They feel entitled to special treatment, think they are the center of the universe, but they lack empathy for others, use others to serve themselves, but at the same time, super sensitive to criticism. Oh, I think this is P. Diddy, but I think who I should have up there, who do you think? If you are thinking Kanye West, then you would be in the right place. Again, just needing people to think that they are wonderful. If you have worked ever in the food service industry, so maybe you were a server or a waitress or waiter at a restaurant or a barista at Starbucks or anything like that, you have met these people, I have no doubt. They're the people who, again, that word entitlement is just that doesn't even explain the half of it. That they deserve all the special treatment, and that there must be something wrong with you if you don't see the same need. They have an unwarranted sense of self-importance. Again, I don't know that the Kardashians are narcissistic, but I would not, again, they have a whole show just about themselves for really no reason, and I'm not sure about that. Maybe you are keeping up with Kardashians, I don't know. But again, and can I just ask, what are selfies all about? If you think about it, isn't that kind of a narcissistic trait? Here, let me take a picture of myself while I'm in my bathroom. It's kind of weird. So, okay. Anyways, I do think that they are the center of the universe. That is it for personality disorders. That is it for abnormal psychology. The next lecture for you to listen to then is going to be about treatment and therapies. I will just warn you right now, it's going to be a little bit of a lengthy one, and so give yourself enough time, but it is one that you definitely will want to watch. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.